are historic tax credit developers, so we look for projects that are eligible for those as a source to help fund the construction. So I mean, the monies that we receive in the form of tax credits that we monetize upfront and into the deal is one piece of the capital stack that allows us to actually do these deals. So, so yes, it being on the register is what allows us to get those federal tax credits. National Park Service inspects, they approve the scope of work that we come up with. They had already declared it as significant, and we got the Part 1 approval very easily. The Part 2 approval is your scope of work that you run by them, and then once everything is done and completed, it will be inspected as part of a Part 3 inspection, which then certifies it further, basically. So that's kind of the process there.
Okay. Yes, in the back, ma'am.
Do you have any projections as to what the rent will be, and or if there's going to be any affordable housing in the building?
Yeah, we have general ranges of where we think the rents will be here. It's not an affordable housing project from a low-income housing tax credit standpoint or anything like that. It won't have any designations of that sort. It'll be basically market rate housing. I mean, what we're, I guess, forecasting studio apartments probably somewhere in the $1,600 to $1,700 range. One-bedroom apartments somewhere in the $1,700 to $1,900 a month range, depending on size. Some of our apartments in the Phase 2 portion of the T-shaped building, which those are the units that will be delivered last once we get to get through to those. Some of those are almost as large as a normal 2-bedroom would be in a normal apartment complex, but we just had so much extra space for these lofts. They end up being over 1,000 square feet in most cases there. So those really would be around 1,900, but the ones in Mills 1 through 3 will be a little bit more, somewhere in the kind of $1,700, $1,800 range. And then our 2-bedrooms probably would be more so around $2,000, $2,100 range a month.
Yes, ma'am, over here.
When will the French department be available?
That's $1 million question right there, right? as soon as possible. I mean, we're hitting the ground as fast as we can. We have every incentive to get done and get units available as soon as we can. So we're thinking realistically probably Q1 of 2024. So hopefully, following the New Year holiday, we would have units, nearing ready for occupancy. We're thinking all of our site work should be done in the fall, before the weather turns, and so we'll have lots, parking lots, base course of paving, parking lot lighting, and all that will be installed, and it'll just be kind of getting interior finishes wrapped up by then. So we're hoping to deliver the first 66 apartments. Each mill has around 33. Each mill building, of which there are 5, has around 33 apartments in it. So we'll have probably mills 1 and 2 in the connecting amenity center, and the commercial spaces will all be hopefully delivering around the same time in the first quarter of next year. It's kind of our hope, and there'll be some pre-leasing, 6 to 4 months in advance of that. I'd say we'd probably feel comfortable to start actually getting ready to get some pre-leasing done. But we just want to have a better sense of exactly what month we'll be in before we start, really touring people through and doing pre-leasing. But we've had a lot of great interest. People have been reaching out through our website, which I encourage you to keep doing that. I've been keeping a list of interested folks that I'll kind of prioritize on reaching out to first for the wait list to kind of get their pick of their preferred apartment. And as we get into a little bit safer stage of construction, we'll be able to at least schedule some walkthroughs where people can come with our, once we bring in leasing folks, they can come and do a walkthrough of the construction site as things are kind of in the more final stages later this year. And then, probably
Great.
the best answer there.
I think there was a question over here. Yes, ma'am.
Is the paving on your parking lot pervious? I think you have the right word.
No, the question was, is the paving we're going to be doing on these parking lots pervious? And the answer is no. It's a fairly standard paving section. We do have permeable pavers, brick pavers, all in a strip, a long strip along Martha Avenue, the whole 890 feet or whatever. There's a strip of pavers between the new sidewalk we'll be putting in and then the grass areas, landscaped areas up to the building. So those brick pavers will be able to allow water to seep through, as well as all the patio pavers between Mill 21 and the Boiler House building. So there will be some permeability there, and there's a good amount of green space as well.
The reason I asked was because of the pipes that you were talking
Oh,
about.
so yeah, the water actually flows from the storm inlets and storm drains underneath of the parking. So the water will be collected in normal kind of drainage grates that you'd see visible on the surface, and then it flows under the parking lots into those that piping system. So that's where it kind of resides until it's spent the appropriate amount of time in there.
Two questions, one simple one. Is there a central hallway or not then in the long building?
Yes.
There is a
Central hallway, double loaded corridor, so units on either side.
But there's only 46 total feet across there.
Yeah, I mean, we found a way to make it work.
So these are basically one-bedroom apartments then?
So the Mills 1 through 3 do have 2 bedrooms as well. Those bedrooms are just either on either side of those units. So it'd be central. You'd walk in the front door and you'd be in your kind of living room, in kind of kitchen area, and then kind of have a family area, and then some have a little space for a study nook, for a desk area, and then there's either one bedroom on one side or a bedroom on one and the other side. So.
Other question is, how's the township been to work with? We have a commissioner sitting over there. Just curious.
This is the trap question, right?
You can change the entire question if you want, and repeat it.
No, I mean, so I only stepped into the process personally about a year and a half ago, a year and a quarter ago. I was with another developer, just getting my training in town down in Baltimore. So I heard something secondhand just from my dad and Larry from the preliminary land development approval process. So I didn't hear how all of that went through, but they said it was pretty smooth, and the township was very supportive of everything we were trying to do. Obviously, this is a big undertaking, and there's a lot of sensitivity to what ultimately went in here. So it sounds like they're very supportive of getting the right uses approved, the right, an appropriate amount of units that wasn't too dense or too, financially unviable, and just kind of balancing through all of that. So all in all,
We did pass a LERTA ordinance there.
yeah, the LERTA was a big assistance as well, and we've had tax stabilization programs put in for almost all of our historic developments. We've needed to get something like that approved, and it's pretty key to making the numbers work, is to not have to just have a full bore tax assessment up front right as you're still trying to occupy units, and to kind of phase into that over time as you kind of get the ropes and stabilize things is very helpful. So yeah, that's always been a big plus.
So we're going to take one more question, and the lady in the back, way in the back, you had your hand up a while ago.
Thank you. What, if any, amenities will be available to the public?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what if any amenities will be available to the public? So yeah, I mean, obviously like the club room, billiard room, party room will not necessarily be public facing. I guess we could theoretically allow that upstairs room in the Boiler House complex to be rented out by non-residents. We just have to get a feel for what the demand really is for that and how much it's being used, and if it feels like it's being underused, maybe we would open that space up to being a space that community members could rent out for various meetings and events, but we haven't really decided on that part. The gym will just be for the residents itself, so it doesn't get too crowded. But the 2 main commercial spaces we'd be leasing, we want those uses to be complementary to the apartments, as well as something that brings in others from the outside community into the complex and draws people in there. So one's about 5,000 square feet and change. The other's up to 5,000 to 7,000 square feet of rentable space. They're both super unique, and we definitely hope to bring some sort of restaurant brew pub operation to at least one of them. But there's a great chance that the other one may end up being something else, whether it's again another salon type of a use, or we've had everything from galleries to bakeries to coffee shops reach out. It's just a matter of how much space does someone really need, and we can't really chop up those spaces very naturally, so someone kind of has to take an entire one and an entire other, so it doesn't become doesn't mess up with the character of how those spaces feel left somewhat open. So, but I imagine there will be some form of retail establishment there. But certainly likely the brew pub will be a community amenity with a significant amount of outdoor lawn space, available for seating.
Okay, great. Well, I think we're going to conclude for this evening. Any board members who are here, please come to the front of the room. We'll have our brief meeting, but thank you, Angela, very much.